What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another highly beneficial video brought to you by Mantown Fitness. Today, we are going to be going over how I personally train during the month of Ramadan and how I prepare for my fast during the month of Ramadan, how I break my fast at the time of Iftar, and we're going to be going over some of the myths that are circulating the internet at the moment in regards to fasting and training being dangerous, right? People have been claiming that this is something that you can pass out from. We actually heard this last year when we had the video with my daughter that had went viral on World Star. We had did a muscle up video, and people just had so much to say because I was fasting when I did it. Not to add, to also add to that, I had a 2-year-old strapped to my harness doing a muscle up. Neither here or there. This is just statements from the people that aren't prepared to do these type of things. So likewise, if fasting is considered dangerous, you got to speak for yourself, right? Fasting is considered dangerous. These are, of course, for the diabetics, maybe even for the pregnant woman, perhaps even for the woman that is breastfeeding. But nonetheless, it is not something that is dangerous for me personally because I had to prepare my body. I prepared my mental to be put up with this type of difficulty. And like I said, not everybody's built for it, and we're not trying to encourage anybody to go into Ramadan exercising. However, we are going to debunk some of the false information out here that you guys are putting out. Um, 8 years consecutively, I've been fasting during the month of Ramadan. I've done this while I've been incarcerated. I've done this on the streets. I've done this working 3 jobs, not including running my business. So that would be 4 jobs that, um, I did at one point while I was fasting during the month of Ramadan, right? This was back in 2020. This was actually during the start of the pandemic. I was working 4 jobs. I was a security guard downtown at the convention center. I was also doing construction, and then I was also working for Henry's Soul Cafe, delivering food to homeless shelters. So I was doing that for uh, pretty much about a 4, 5, 6 month stretch, and it went right into the month of Ramadan. So I found the balance. I got through it. It didn't kill me. It didn't break me, and I still trained at a high level. I was still doing my online coaching, and I'm still here. You know what I'm saying? Still here, bro. This is not something that's gonna kill you. Like, this is meant to benefit you, if anything, right? So how do I prepare for my fast, right? I fast um throughout the year already. I do intermittent fasting. I was plant-based for 2 years before I switched over to a non-dairy diet. This was back in November, but I was plant-based for 2 years consecutively. And during those 2 years, most of the days I did intermittent fasting. So the intermittent fasting, I would either do 1 or 2 meals, 2 meals being on my heavy lift days, 1 meal being on primarily a calisthenic training day. So I did 2 meals a day, most of the time one, for 2 consecutive years. And then I would also implement the Sunnah fast, the Mondays and Thursdays, the 13th, 14th, or 15th. I think that's the Sunnah of every month according to the Islamic calendar, not the Gregorian calendar or the Roman calendar. Um, so this is something that kind of already, programmed my body into preparing for the 29 or the 30-day uh, fast for the month of Ramadan. Um, I prepare at the time of Sahoor. Sahoor is the most important aspect, in my opinion, when it comes to the training, right? Suhoor is the pre-dawn meal that the Muslim takes. It is the barakah in it, plenty of blessings in it. So we, highly recommend it for us to take it. Uh, what do we eat at this time? You can eat anything, but if you're training, you want to really stock up on your fats and your proteins. So I'm going to give you guys a list of foods. Get a pen and paper. Um, Number one, sea moss. Sea moss has a very rich fat content, right? It has healthy fats in it that's also going to help regulate your hormones. It is also high in potassium, muscle and nerve function, right? This is what potassium is responsible for. So if you are training, right, and you have a sufficient amount of potassium in your body, you are going to be less prone to pulling muscles, something that primarily happens when people do not know how to train during the month of Ramadan. You have to know what you're doing, right? And we're going to get into the exercises and all that in a bit. But what I am saying is that when you have potassium in your body, when you have the potassium in your body, no matter what you get it from, the sea moss, bananas, mangoes, when you have this in your body, you're going to be less prone to getting injured because now you have that essential mineral to add to your muscle fiber to function through each training segment. Not only is sea moss great for that, it's also good for the immune system. You can also check out our sea moss in the link that is in the description of this video, umasadanaturals.shopify. Um, Another food that I like to take is walnuts. Walnuts, Brazil nuts, even the almond butter, but primarily walnuts, right? Walnuts, um, you can eat a few different ways. Me, lately, I've just been eating them straight off the bag. I haven't been pre-soaking them. It is recommended that you pre-soak them, but I haven't been doing it. I've been eating them raw. I'm not going to sit here and lie and cap to you guys, but yeah, eating them raw. May put some agave on them to sweeten it up. Eat them with some dates. Walnuts is very high in fat, and it combines the protein aspect as well into your macros, right? So you can take the walnuts with you can put them on top of a smoothie, some pancakes, some waffles, whatever you got to do. Just make sure you get those in, right? Another thing I like to do is to pre-soak them for a few hours, and I like to make my ground meat out of the walnuts as well. We'll probably get into how I make the ground or the taco meat out of the walnuts and later in another video. Um, but yeah, so walnuts and sea moss. What is another fat that I like to get in my system? The eggs. I just started back eating eggs, and wallahi, it's probably one of the best things I ever done in regards to the energy that it provides for my body, and it also gives you what? The protein. So a lot of people like to do the egg whites. I don't think the egg whites have a lot of protein. Excuse me, they don't have a lot of fat in them like the eggs do, like the regular eggs, because the eggs, I believe the yolk has, the most fat. So if you do the egg whites, that's fine. Still going to give you the protein, but the egg whites, excuse me, the regular eggs with the yolk, in my opinion, is going to give you that combination of the fat and the protein to give you that energy to sustain your training segment. I normally will eat that just probably one fried egg, maybe two fried eggs at the time of Sahoor, depending on what I ate the night before. I'll put that on some whole grain toast. I've been eating the Ezekiel bread or that Dave's Killer toast bread. Probably find that out of your local markets. Uh, Put that on some toast with some avocado. And that's another healthy food, a healthy fat that I like to incorporate in my diet with or without Ramadan, right? But at the time of Sahur, put that avocado toast in motion. That's going to give you your healthy fats and potassium to help sustain your training segment. So we got sea moss, eggs, avocado, and walnuts, right? Another food that I like to get in my system, right, is watermelon. Watermelon, both at the time of Sahur and Iftar, is going to hydrate your body up immediately, right? Very high in electrolytes and amino acids as well. So definitely get your watermelon in. Make sure you get the watermelon with the seeds. So with that being said, what else am I doing? Of course, I'm going to hydrate. I'm going to try to get a half a gallon in the morning and then a half a gallon in the evening. But after that, I'm probably not going to get into my training routine until about either between 11 and 2 p.m., which that's what fits my schedule. It may not fit your schedule. So between 11 to 2 p.m., 11 a.m., 2 p.m., I'm going to be training with my guys. Like this weekend, we have a meetup down in College Park that we're going to be doing. And we're going to mainly focus on calisthenics, not really do too much weightlifting. We did some weightlifting yesterday, me and Abdul Hakim. We did some I did a heavy lift on our leg day. Didn't really get big high numbers that I wanted to get, and that's obviously because I'm fasting. Like, it's very difficult and I'll say it's more dangerous and more difficult, if it ever was dangerous, to train heavy lifts while fasting as opposed to doing calisthenics or body weight, even if it's weighted calisthenics, right? I would say the heavy lifting